So we'll do that again and have a look. We get set up. We're going to have a small pressure shift to the right, and then we're going to turn. And you can notice here that I am still loading my right side. All my pressure is in my right glute, right heel and right glute. What I'm not doing to try and avoid this stick is kind of like reverse pivot and have all my pressure move to the front leg. Welcome to the channel, guys. My name's Ryan Mouque, and today we're going to focus on the sway in the backswing. Now, what exactly is the sway? A sway is when a golfer moves too far to the right in their backswing, causing a lot of low point issues, contact issues. It's very hard to compress the ball. We're going to get into a few drills to help you with this flaw. Let's get stuck in. Alrighty, golfers, so a sway is when in the backswing the body moves too far to the right. More in particular, the lower body moves a little bit too far this way, and sometimes the upper body can follow, but it can also tilt back the other way. So how do you know that you have a sway in your golf swing? Well, we're going to grab this yellow alignment stick, and I'm going to place it right in the middle here as a reference point to show you exactly what a sway is and to find out if you have a sway. So you can see that this yellow alignment stick is right in the middle of my body. It's in the middle of my pelvis and my chest. And a sway would be when the golfer moves too far over to the right-hand side. And now you can see that the body is too far behind this stick, making it very difficult to get that compression that everyone's looking for. You struggle with low point, you hit behind the ball, you hit it skinny, you hit it fat. It's a real hard way to swing a golf club. So another way to identify a sway is if you get set up to your golf ball, place an alignment stick just outside the right heel. And what you're going to notice is if you sway, you're going to hit this alignment stick with your lower body. It's going to move all the way over here, moving that yellow alignment stick to the right. So what do I see from a down the line perspective? Well, a couple of things is I see a lack of rotation in the upper half, and I see a lack of rotation in the lower half, mainly because this right leg doesn't straighten and rotate. So what happens is the golfer moves off the golf ball, they sway, and you can see the upper body is very under-rotated, the lower body is very under-rotated, and that right knee stays very flexed for a long time. So what does it look like if we weren't to sway in the backswing? Well, if we were to take our setup and I place this alignment stick just outside the trail heel or the right heel, okay, it's got a little bit of space there for me still to pressure shift to the right. So what does that mean? Well, the best players in the world don't actually turn central. They have a small pressure shift to the right. Now, this isn't a sway, this is a pressure shift. Just like if you were to throw a ball, you would kind of rock onto this right side and then you would turn and throw. So the best players in the world, what you'll see from them is when they set up to the golf ball, they have this small shift to the right here. Someone like Henrik Stenson is very pronounced with this movement, Rory McIlroy as well. So the best players in the world, they have this small pressure shift to the right, and then they start to turn their lower and upper body. And all I'm really trying to feel here is that my right hip and my right shoulder work behind me, as opposed to someone who sways, they're just moving in a lateral direction to the right. So we'll do that again and have a look. We get set up. We're going to have a small pressure shift to the right, and then we're going to turn. And you can notice here that I am still loading my right side. All my pressure is in my right glute, right heel and right glute. What I'm not doing to try and avoid this stick is kind of like reverse pivot and have all my pressure move to the front leg. This is detrimental for the golfer because what's going to happen from here is you can't really push any more forward. What you're going to have to do is back up, and that's still going to move that low point behind, and you're still going to struggle to hit the golf ball. So what does this swing look like from a down the line perspective? Well, when I get set up to my golf ball and I place this alignment stick just outside my right heel, again, the best players in the world have a small pressure shift to the right to start their swing, then they turn their right hip and right shoulder around the corner. And again, I'm not touching this stick, I'm loaded into that right glute. What I haven't done is I haven't taken the club away feeling like I'm very centered, and obviously then I can possibly mistake that swing for something that gets too much pressure on this lead side. The other thing you'll notice from this angle is how my knees work. When I turn correctly, they're going to change flex. So you're going to see the front knee move slightly inward and the right knee move a little bit more behind. Now, be careful not to lock that out, as that's also detrimental to your golf swing. So we still want to feel that slight pressure shift to the right, and then we're going to turn, and you can see there's still some bend in this right knee, but I'm loaded into this right glute. Alrighty, so what are some drills that we can do to help minimize the amount of sway you have off the golf ball? I'm going to give you two today. One involves no golf club, but some alignment sticks, maybe in front of a mirror at home. And this is purely just to be able to see what it looks like not to sway off the ball. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to place this alignment stick through my belt loops. I'm going to grab my other alignment stick and place it across my shoulders. Now, if I was someone who sways off the golf ball, what I'm going to see is my lower body moves too far to the right, my upper body moves to the right with it, and I don't really have a lot of rotation here. You can see the sticks are still very straight when they're on my shoulders and in my hips. So what we would want to see from the golfer who doesn't sway is my right hip and my right shoulder turning around the corner. And what that would look like is that small pressure shift to the right, then I would start to turn my upper body and my lower body. And what you're going to notice with these sticks when you look in a mirror, as you can see right now, is I've got roughly 90 degrees of shoulder turn and about 45 degrees of hip turn. Compare that to someone who sways off the golf ball, you can't really see a lot of turn with either my lower body or my upper body. So what would this look like from a down the line perspective? If I was a swayer off the golf ball, I would see very little rotation in the lower half and very little rotation in the upper half. So what we would want to see is we would want to see these sticks changing direction. We would want to see that slight pressure shift to the right, and then I would want to see my lower body and upper body turning, with my upper body getting roughly 90 degrees of turn and my lower body roughly 45 degrees of turn. The other good drill that I like to do with someone who sways off the golf ball is just isolate the lower body. So what that means is if I was to set up to the golf ball and all I'm going to do is place 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. So my back foot is going to be on the ground, and basically what it looks like is I'm fully balanced on that back foot. That's how much pressure I'm going to get on it. I'm going to place my left foot down just as a balance point. And if someone was to sway off the golf ball with this style of setup, what they're going to do, they're not going to have any balance. They're going to fall straight over. So what I like to do is we're going to isolate the lower body, and I'm going to try and feel like I turn around this right glute. So again, I'm just going to turn my upper body, really feeling like I'm turning around this right glute. And you can see it's literally impossible to sway off the golf ball when I do this. So I'll do that one more time for you. Going to turn my upper body and feel like I'm loading into that right side. And what I can actually feel even right now is a nice stretch through my right glute, which means I'm working the right muscles. What does that look like from a down the line perspective? Again, I've got all my pressure on that back foot here. I'm just placing this left foot down as a balance point, and I'm going to rotate around my right glute. And you can see that it's quite hard to balance in here. I'm going to do that one more time. It's a really good exercise to stop someone swaying off the golf ball. So essentially what that would look like if I was to put 2 feet together is if I do that drill one more time and I get that feeling, I'm going to place 2 feet back on the ground, and I'm just going to try and replicate that feel. So I'm loading into that right side there. And what you'll notice there is there was no indication that I was going to sway off the golf ball. Right now my right glute's screaming at me. It's nice and stretched. It's nice and engaged, as opposed to someone who was to sway off the golf ball and really not feel anything in that right glute. So ultimately, after those drills have been done, what does the golf swing look like? Well, when we get to the top of our backswing from this angle here, we're going to see a slight pressure shift to the right, and we're going to turn our right hip and our right shoulder behind us. What you can see is there's no indication that I've swayed over to the right. We're nicely loaded in that right side, and we're ready to push down and rotate into the downswing. So what does this look like from a down the line perspective? We're going to see my right hip and my right shoulder work around me, and I'm going to see a slight change in knee flex. Along with this is you're going to get some more depth to your golf swing, your arms and your club more behind you. So what we're going to do is we're going to have that slight pressure shift to the right, and then I'm going to rotate into my backswing. So I'm nicely loaded in this right side here, and I'm ready to push down and explode through to my through swing. So I hope that video today was informative. I hope you learned something from that video. Is that something that you struggle with? What drills have you done in the past to help stop your sway, or at least minimize the amount of sway you have? If you enjoyed today's video, please press the like and subscribe button. Comment below if you have any questions. Till next time, thanks for watching.